These two shlokas that we are studying today, a lot has been written about it, and also a good amount of intellectual fermentation has happened. Debates have been raised on the words of the shloka, and one of the word which has gained enormous importance in the discussion of Bhagavad Gita as a scripture is the word Swadharma. So this is where, after giving the unfathomable heights of explanations, which is perhaps the most ideal explanation coming at the Brahma or Atma Jnana standpoint of view, now the Lord has come to the material world, the world of our existence, the world of transactional appearance, and he has coined a term, Swadharma. Dharma by itself has been the crux of philosophy for Hinduism in umpteen forms, from the Itihas Puranas to all the philosophical scriptures to the Upanishads. Dharma has been one word that has been coined around. A lot of things have been weaved around that word called dharma. And here, what we have is Swadharma, the dharma of your own. By coining the word Swadharma, it means that there is something called Paradharma also, which in itself says that the dharma need not be same for everyone. That is a very basic postulate. Dharma need not be same for everyone. Now, would that mean that dharma has different colors and views, so that with each hue of the color, the dharma changes? Is dharma a steady thing, or it is a fluid and a dynamic thing? Does dharma change as per the occasion, or it is something which is steady and stoic? These questions come to our mind, one. And another important aspect is, in all the dilemmas that I face, and I do face, a very simple and a major dilemma that we face is, ये जो book है, this Gita, is it the right thing? और वो जो गिनने वाली note है, that is the right thing. Now, if you say that no, Gita is the only right thing, then you can't beg also. If you say the notes are the only right thing, then that is also not giving me satisfaction. Then someone comes with a combined model. He says, नहीं वो थोड़ा अर्थार्जन भी जरूरी है, थोड़ा ये भी जरूरी है. It means that the suitability of the definition of dharma changes with the circumstances, and at times it takes a nature of contradiction in itself, wherein it is referred as apad dharma. Vishwamitra Maharaj sat for the meditation, and situation arose that there was nothing to eat. The question was whether to live or die. And then he had no choice but to eat the meat of a dog. Now the question is, a Brahman tapasvi Rishi eating the meat, should he be now excommunicated from the dharma? He's a blot on the dharma, or has he followed the dharma? And the answer is no, he has followed the dharma because he had to follow apad dharma, the fallen dharma, because of certain dire situations. We face this dilemma on a daily basis. Should I be killing a mosquito because I might get malaria, or should I be avoiding killing a mosquito because it is himsa? If I kill, then it is considered against the dharma because ahimsa paramo dharma. If I don't kill, then the cockroaches infest my house. At a very, very basic level also, the moral and ethical principles that have been drawn from the highest truths, when we intend to apply them to the transactional world, they may sound bizarre. And that being the reason, Bhagavad Gita, being the scripture of humanity, has taken the question head on. And that is why the word Swadharma. Meenakshi ji made a reference to Krishnananda Maharaj. Swamiji has given a wonderful explanation. The gist of that explanation is it left to me to define what the dharma is, or is it that I am supposed to adopt the dharma? Dharma is already existing and I am immersed in the dharma. Or is it that I, as a Dr. Jadhav, I devise a new dharma for myself and I say, no, this is my dharma. If every individual starts interpreting dharma as per all his own whims and fancies, the dharma will be losing its significance altogether. So one has to go a little deeper to find out from where the dharma has originated. If we all are not born and if we are not a jiva, there is no dharma. Why? Because the creator, prior to creation, does not require a dharma. The reason being, he is adharmi. So it is only after the creation has started, for the created beings, dharma has come. When did dharma came into the existence? Right at the time when the created beings came into the existence. Leaving other creations aside, if we only think about ourselves, then the concept of dharma cannot be complete. The creator, when he created the universe, as Einstein rightly said, that creator hasn't played a dice. There is a nishchita rupi plan is there behind the creation, and with a certain plan it goes. Bhagavan again and again says, Nimitta matra bhave savasachin. What it means that you do not know what you are supposed to do. I know everyone what they are supposed to do. This everyone what they are supposed to do is dharma. An analogy taken by Krishnananda Swamiji is of a human body. Can my finger think that from tomorrow onwards I will decide, instead of going this way, I will go this way? And if that happens, would this entire constitution called body work in unison and frequency in a proper rhythm? I want to go to the east. My legs say, no, today I have decided to go to the west. Will the functionality itself be there? It just cannot be there. Another important aspect is the constituent of an organization or an organism like our body, unless they cooperate with each other, the functioning is impossible. The muscle tissue cannot say that I'm not bothered about the heart, because the muscle will not get the oxygen from the blood, because blood is pumped by the heart. So the heart may look different, blood vessel may look different, the muscle may look different, but they are interdependent. If that is how the organism has evolved, then the creation, considering this as a Virata Sharira, we already have a concept of Virata Sharira. So all the gross bodies of the world have been prescribed and proscribed a certain role to perform for the functioning of the universe. So my individuality has no subsistence whatsoever. In fact, that is one of the biggest fallacy because of which I am in trouble. I think I am different one in the universe. And the universe says, no, you are one of my thousands and million parts. Each of them, the wind that is blowing, the rain that is coming, the mosquito that is humming, the bats that they go from one place to another place and drop their excreta, because of which the earth becomes fertile, because of which the plant comes on it, because of which the bee sits on it, because of which the pollination happens. Everything is interdependent. What then otherwise it means as a corollary is, you shall discharge the duty that is given to you as a part of the machine. The only difference could be what part you are. In a motorbike, if you are a carburetor, you are a very important part, But that importance is from our point of view. The wheel is equally important. What will carburetor do by explosion unless the wheel has been given the motion? Apparently, it may look that the wheel is the most downgraded part, while carburetor is the most important part. It is a relative assessment by the user. But motorbike is a whole entity with every part having important role. That is why there is something called dignity of labor. The question comes then, why one is a wheel and why one is a carburetor? Why one is a Brahmin and why one is a Kshatriya? That is because in the creation, the roles have been fitted to the functionalities depending upon the functional ability. The functional ability of an organism depends upon the ability that is acquired by him through the purpose of three gunas by virtue of the deeds that are done in the past. Yallabhase nija karmo pate vittam tenam vinodaya chittam. Whatever has come to you because of your past actions is your wealth. Now that I was studying constantly Bhagavad Gita, that led to evolution of my thoughts and they started becoming more purer and purer. And my intellectual ability, which is again nothing else but the Sattva Guna, it became more preponderant. Naturally, my inclination towards Brahmanism would start slowly evolving. And then such a person, irrespective of which caste he is born, because caste has no chaturvarnam maya srushtam, not chatur jatim. Jati is man-made creation. Because of preponderance of that particular guna, in my previous life, I have always been righteous, giving justice to others and working very hard to see that no one discriminates, and used my power, my rajoguna, with the help of my sattva guna to control the affairs of people around me so that everybody gets a justice. That means I am a preponderantly kshatriya in my attitude. If that shall be so, the nature shall fit me into a role which will oblige me to work like a kshatriya, so that for the sustenance, there has to be somebody who has to provide a purpose for the sustenance. Providing a purpose for the sustenance is Brahman. Providing the instrument for the sustenance is Kshatriya. Providing the wealth for the sustenance is Vaishya. And providing the service for the sustenance. All the four are equally important. All the four are given depending upon what you can do best. One who decides who can do best is sitting in the Muladhara Chakram with his long trunk. Ganesha is finding out what is the predominant thing in you and giving you the role accordingly. An excellent philosopher cannot make a good surgeon. A good surgeon cannot make a good philosopher, need not make a good philosopher. I spent 13 years of my life learning surgery. In a retrospect, now I find that I have inclination of something else. The societal pressure might have pushed me into a particular direction and might have become a little bit successful in that line. But then it is not a lock and key fitting phenomena. It has to be a lock and key fitting phenomena. That means the role ascribed to me depending upon the preponderance. That is why it is said that a Brahmin should never lie. Why? He cannot lie properly. The Sattva Guna preponderance will always hurt him. A Tamoguni can do cheating like this because the Sattva Guna is absent there. Each of us, there are people who try their level best but cannot understand even one shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Damoguna preponderance. And in such cases, for them, the only thing left is do the seva of the sadhus and keep doing the satsang, keep listening again and again. Why? So that slowly the tamoguna dominance will come, the rajoguna proper, then rajoguna dominance will go down, sattva guna will come, and then it will open up everything for you, because the roles will keep changing with each birth. And again, this Swadharma in intellectual field is a different thing, and in a karma kshetra is that is why dharma kshetre kuru kshetre. Dharma is the fabric on which the karma depends. That is why in Purushartha, the first Purushartha is dharma. What is Purushartha? To make yourself best as a human being, the first thing you should know is what is dharma. Then artha kama moksha later on. If dharma itself is not understood, artha kama moksha, even if you have it, moksha you will never get. Artha kama will not give you happiness at all. Why? Because the dharma itself is not known to you. During the course of my own life, there was a time when a lot of temptations were moving around me because of the position that one holds in India, where unfortunately a chair is given too much of dominance. At all those points, I realized that I am not cut for it. Many of my close friends asked me, why don't you create an empire out of the place where you are sitting? And the answer that time was, I am not cut for it. What is this? I am not cut for it. That means that is not my swadharma. So a deliberate attempt to do something which I am not meant to do shall make me miserable. Paradharma bhayavaha. It is a scary, it is absolute scare to get into somebody else's dharma. And that is why even the scripture says, better die in your dharma rather than enjoy in somebody else's dharma. That is why identifying swadharma. And that's why Gurudev has told in 4 fields how the dharma works. It is the quality of mental constitution. Gurudev is pointing towards the guna preponderance. He has the required physical enthusiasm. What physically you intend to do? What do you feel physically? Physically, you feel that everything should be clean. Everything should be white, sparkling white. The words should be soft. The words should be full of love. The tongue should not be used for any single abuse. If this you are feeling from inside, sir, that means the Sattvikta is dominant in you. Oh, you are a Brahmin. That is why not by birth you become a Brahman. Brahman vahi jo Brahma ko jane pehre janavu vichari. This yajnopavitad janevu is a vichar ka janevu. Not the thread that you're, it has a significance, token significance. Ideally, Brahman vahi jo Brahma ko jane pehre janavu vichari. साधु के 100 गुण जनऊ के 9 गुण 100 प्रहर brahmachari. If you are not brahmachari, constantly passionate about the opposite sex, you are not a Brahmin, sir. Kshatriya soi jo papakshaya karavi. There is unrighteousness, unjust thing, he has to, his blood has to boil. रगों में दौड़ने के हम नहीं कायल, जब आंख से भी ना टपके तो लहू क्या है? The blood has to boil. Gurudev calls all social reformers. Kshatriya soi jo papakshaya karai, bandhi jnana talwari. It is not a raw force, jnana talwari. Antar dil mein daya rakhi, kabhi na aave hari. That is Kshatriya. Vaishya soi jo vishaya tyagi. It is exclusively in Hinduism, the traders are told to amass lot of wealth. But most of the people who amass the wealth, the Bani and the other trading community, they're usually supposed to keep away from the women. Vishaya. That's why they don't spend. They're very stingy. That is by nature, by Swadharma. Vaishya soi jo vishaya tyagi, tyag dei paranari, mamata maar ke manzil lave, pran dan de dare. After earning everything, he's supposed to donate. That's why maximum donations are coming from the trading community in India. It is the same thing with Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation. What is it? It is same thing. They are Vaishya. Shudra vahi jo sudha rehta chhod det apkari, guru ki daya sadhu ki sangat pav achal padbhari. This is how the varnas are divided according to Gita scripture through Swadharma by Kabir Maharaj. And that is why Gurudev says the moral fiber, the intellectual alacrity, and the heroic daring. Heroic daring is required in everything. A Brahmana, when he abandons all the relations and focuses himself on Brahman and tries to decide that I have to forget everything in the world that is heroic deed. When a Kshatriya goes out to see that injustice is not done, even if I lose my life, that is daring, heroic daring. When a Vaishya says that come what may, I shall not be accumulating wealth at the cost of a lie. It is heroic daring. And come what may, even if I am cut into pieces, I shall continue to serve my Guru, continue to serve the Rishis. That is the heroic daring of a Shudra. That is why finding one's own Swadharma, it is an organized un-Aryan force, Adharma. If it comes, the Kshatriya has to come forward to protect it. So supposing a CEO working in a company, if he comes across something that is not happening right, and if he doesn't stand for his people against his own management, he is not a Kshatriya. He is an escapist. And that is why, if at all there is an opportunity where you are put into a test, Gurudev says, and the Gita says, that test itself comes only to the lucky ones. Those who do not do anything never commit any mistake, because kuch karte nahi to mistake kahan se hogi. Those who dare, they only face the world, the mistakes, and stand by. The gold glows when it goes through the fire. And that is why Swadharma is the word for these two shlokas. A constant appearance for Swadharma is what is been told here, and we need to focus on that and use it. This is the most practical shloka to find out one's own Swadharma. Hari Om.